Okay, I'm going to take a moment and review how to measure correctly in science. This will be important because it tells you how many numbers to report out when you use a graduated cylinder, a ruler, burettes as you go further in chemistry. There's different tools that have tick marks, and you got to know how many numbers to write down because you can't just write 2 numbers down and think that that's okay. So let's look at these 2 rulers. So you can see on the first ruler here, there are tick marks in between the 9 and 10. But the ruler down here, there are no tick marks. So we have this happen with different devices, different things that are used in science. So it depends on the tick marks. So here's the simple rule for measuring. You write what you know, and you had one estimated number. Now, here's the thing. Do we all estimate the same way? And the answer is no, we don't. So we're not all going to have exact same measurements, but that estimated number needs to be there. It helps us when we do calculations and with sig figs, which you're going to learn next. So that is the rule. You write what you know and add an estimated number. So let's look at the different objects here and the different rulers. So object A, we can see comes down to right around here. So if you look closely, there are 10 tick marks to go from 6 to 7. 10 tick marks to go one whole number. Each tick mark would be worth 0.1, right? Makes sense? So you can see that we are, according to this ruler, or this object and the ruler, we are at about 6.8. Now, I'll scratch that out so we don't look at that number too. It looks like it's pretty much right on the 6.8 mark. But what if it's not? What if it's a little bit? It might be actually a little bit under. It could be a little bit over 6.8. So we can tell based on the tick mark, it's definitely 6.8. But you have to add an estimated number. So if you think it is right on the line, then you add a 0. If you're looking at it and you're saying, well, I think it's under the 0.8 line, you could say 6.79 or something like that. That would be okay also. You could say 6.81. So which one of those is correct? They're all correct. Again, it's an estimated number. It'll get figured into the sig figs in the calculations, but that estimated number needs to be there. So there's a little bit of wiggle room when you measure, but I definitely on something like that would want to see you report out to the hundredths. So when each tick mark is worth a tenth, you want to go out to the hundredths for your final number because of the estimated number. Now, the bottom ruler for the same object, object A, lands right here. Now, you can see on this bottom ruler, there is no tick marks in between. So the only thing we can say for sure is that it's 6. It's past 6, right? That's the only thing we know for sure. So then the 10th spot will be our estimated number. So again, is it 0.7, 0.8? Doesn't really matter, but it needs to be there. You need to report out to the tenths on that one. So that one, you can't go out as far because there are no tick marks. It loses its accuracy. All right, does that make sense? Take a second, look at object B. I'll pause for 1 sec, and tell me what object B is according to ruler 1. All right, so it looks like it is definitely 4 point, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4. It looks like it's a little bit before the 4.5 number. Again, depends how you're interpreting it. But let's say I'm saying it's definitely 4.4. And then because it's so far close to the next tick mark, I'm going to say 4.49 or 4.48 or 4.50. Again, all these measurements would be considered okay and correct. Again, the point is you should be going out to the hundredth spot. Now going back here, I just realized I wrote this wrong up here. This should say 0.01 for the hundredths. I wrote a thousandths. My mistake. Now, for the bottom ruler, we can't say it's definitely 4.50. We don't have enough tick marks. We can definitely say that it's 4 point something, but that's it. So we then estimate, again, 4.4, 4.5, doesn't matter. It's an estimated number. Also, I want you to get in the habit, I didn't mention this before, but you should be putting units behind every number. I will start hopefully getting that in your head. In science, a number without a unit means nothing. 5 what? 5 grams? 5 liters? I don't know. It needs to have a unit behind it. So these rulers are in centimeters. So let's try another one that was in the notes. Okay. Now, let's look at this ruler. It's in millimeters. So you can see again there are 10 tick marks to go from one number to another number. So each tick mark is worth 0.1. So again, if each tick mark is worth 0.1, we at least need to go out. We are going to go out, not at least. We are going to go out to the hundredths as far as what we report out. So when I look at this gray bar, it definitely goes to 3 point, let's see, there's 5, 6, 7, 8. So it's definitely 3.8. It looks like it's a little bit past it. So how much further? I don't know, 3.81, 3.82. Again, it's an estimated number. I would just want to, if I give you this on a quiz, I would be looking that you definitely said 3.8. You saying 3.9 or 3.7, that would be incorrect. And I want to see an estimated number. If you say 3.83, 3.81, no problem. But that has to be there. All right. Now, let's look at graduated cylinders. So with graduated cylinders, I'm going to change something on this one while I'm here. I'm going to scratch out this number, and I'm going to make it 21.5. So each tick mark on this graduated cylinder is worth 0.1 again. Now with graduated cylinders, again, I'm pretty sure you've heard this word before, but the way water tension in a glass graduated cylinder would work is it creates a meniscus, which is this thing that dips down. So you want to read the bottom of the meniscus where this red arrow is pointing. So again, we're going to write what we know. The water went past 21. Now, it did not go to the 0.1 line. So you can't say it's 21.1. It's at 21.0 because it didn't go past the next mark. But here's the thing. You need to estimate how much, because this is the 0.0 line right here, right? You need to estimate how much further past that line did it go. It looks it's about halfway, I guess. So I'm going to put a 5 there. And that's probably what's confusing about this one, is you have to put the 0.05. Again, if the meniscus, let me get a different color here. If it would have been up here, you would have said 21.2 for sure, because it went past that tick mark. And then you would have said, I don't know, maybe a 0.23. But because it's down here and it's only past the 0.0 mark, you have to put that 0 there and then the estimated number. So you might encounter that sometime. But again, because each tick mark was worth a tenth, you're going to go to the hundredths for your final number. If you would have a measuring device where each tick mark was worth a hundredth, we do have specific devices that can be used. Because of an estimated number, you would actually report out to the thousandths on something like that. So you add an extra decimal place is another way to say it. So hopefully that makes sense. There are a couple pages in your packet with some pictures of rulers or graduated cylinders. What I forgot to mention is that our graduated cylinders will always be in milliliters. We don't measure in liters. Liters is way too much. And again, you always have to put a unit behind your number. All right, I hope that helps.